even though we have this finding the meaning and purpose through those experiences, but do those purposes change necessarily? Like, you started touching upon it, but I want you to
Yeah.
a little bit
Yeah.
expand on it. And I
Yeah.
want you to also go back to I want you to combine Tracy's and Rick's sort of comments,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's a lot of connection there.
Yeah. Well, I'll make it personal for me. And it's, just because in my career change and did my passions change, or did I grow? And, I, just say, like, just imagine just being born and asking God, like, so what's my purpose? And it's like,
Right.
what's my deepest purpose? And even if God told us our deepest purpose, I don't know if we'd be ready to hear it, or we'd even understand it. And I
Right.
feel like I think our purposes change in that which the horizon has too. I think purpose is climbing to the top of the mountain, and then climbing and realizing there's actually another mountain there too. There's
Right.
actually no top of the mountain. But just very personally for me, it's like, yeah, I've been a musician, most of my adult life. I went to school in Whittier, California, and I went to Whittier College, and I studied music, and I found a purpose and a passion in performing. And just even rewind just a little bit, music found me, as I was sharing earlier about myself and feeling like I didn't fit in. Music became an outlet for me, and I discovered, I never wasn't born like I want to play music. It was something I discovered. It's like, oh, this feels good, and then I realized, like, oh, this makes other people feel good. This makes other people notice me. It makes girls look at me. It makes guys want to talk to me, and it's like, so it's like this, like, oh, there's something here. So like, and it was like something that made me feel good, and it was something that allowed me to impact others and make them feel good. And I created a whole music career out of that, because it was a passion. I mean, it still is a passion, but it was something I followed, like, with my heart and soul, like it was my purpose, because it was like I was feeding on the unknown. And it's like you're saying, and this is the beauty of passion, is it allows us to listen to our experiences and our obstacles as opportunities. And some of the biggest lessons of my life I've learned on a broken down school bus in the middle of several there's two West Coast tours. We had a school bus that exploded in Portland, and we're stranded, and popped 3 tires in a week after that, and there was elements, and I have so many stories of but I learned a lot of my, just in pursuing that without really a reason, or other than the feeling and just the experience of freedom and getting to express that and to give that to others. It was something that filled me up. And but as I was on that path, like, it was a gift that I have and I had, but for me, it was more of, there was a deeper purpose that I wasn't aware of, that I wasn't necessarily in tune with all the time. It felt right when it was right, but other times it was like, something's not there. But it was a not knowing of, why, or even who I am, because this is how the world showed up. I got picked on and made fun of, and I started playing music, and then it was like, that was surviving into this. Like, oh, people like me. This is how my identity became, I'm a cool musician, a mysterious musician, and look at me, and look how great I can play, and it's like, but it was about others, but it was also like, it was about me, because it was the only level of my identity that I could even see at the time, because again, I was still looking at the world through my experience of my stories and what happened to me, and but it was like a broken clock. It worked when it worked, and it didn't work when it didn't work, and it was like, what's missed? Something's off. I couldn't even articulate it. And it was after shelving, after touring for over 10 years, it was just putting it on a shelf and asking these questions and these inquiries is, who am I? Why am I? Why bother? Why bother make music? This has got to be about something bigger than just surviving. And that's where I would say the core is this based, is my purpose based on survival, or is it based on thriving and bringing freedom and love and self-expression to all?
Wow. And one of the things I want to kind of touch upon over there from what you said is, again, we can't come out saying, okay, God, I'm here, what's my purpose? it has to be through those lived experiences because,
Yes.
you know, all the three of us here, we work with leadership and we work in some form of coaching or consulting capacity. I think the number one rule that we all know, and anybody who's in coaching, consulting, and even education, we know that we can't tell our clients what to do. They have to they have to come to the conclusion on their own, right? Because they have to have buy-in. Sure, I can solve all my clients' problems from the very beginning by telling them what to do, but it's a lot more effective if I lead them in that direction through just, one of our previous guests, Chelsea, she posted on LinkedIn today about how, why am I blinking now? Gosh. She asks clarifying questions in her coaching, right? And that's the thing, is we have to ask questions to get somebody to the conclusion that they need to get to. It's the same thing here. God can't just say, hey, here's your purpose. Like, here's a label that comes with, here's the guidebook. You have to live through certain experiences because that's our buy-in. Through going through those experiences, positive and negative, those traumatic experiences as well as those, exhilarating experiences, we come to have buy-in into our purpose and then finding a way of turning that into something, like you said, it's we experience what we experience so that we can help others. But we have to look at those experiences, seeing what is happening to me. Why is this happening to me? Who else is this happening to? Who can I help? Who can I help? And who can I impact with this? I remember when my son was born, it was a home birth. Everything was fine. 24 hours later, he was in the NICU because through complete divine providence, we caught something. Actually, our midwife caught something in the video that we didn't even realize, and his heart rate was too low. So we brought him into the NICU, and he was fine, except for the fact that he had to be there for 5 days for protocols for whatever reasons. But out of that, through what we went through as first-time parents, going through the stress of it, do we stay in the hospital, do we go home, and all the decisions that we made, we were adamant that coming out of it, aside from being able to bring our son home, we wanted something positive to happen, and we wanted to be able to help others. Sure enough, a couple years later, one of my friends went through a very similar experience where they had a child that was born, and within a certain period of time, that child ended up in the hospital with some very serious procedures that they had to go through. But because I had gone through that experience and I was committed to remembering that and remembering the lessons, I was then able to share that with them, and it helped them. And one other thing I want to bring up, because it came up on my Facebook memories today. I have a quote here from Richard Branson. If someone offers you an amazing opportunity and you're not sure you can do it, say yes. Then learn how to do it later. And that's essentially what God is doing with us. He's God, or the universe, or the force, or whatever your higher power is. That's what they're doing. They're saying, here's an amazing opportunity. It might not look so good, and you're going to go through hell and back to figure this out, to get through it. But take it, go through it, and then learn from it. Figure out how to turn that into something there's a lesson that you can then apply. And that is how we have to look at our lives. And the funny thing is we can only look at our lives like that. We can't look at somebody else and say, oh, well, you have to learn a lesson from it, so go figure it out. But we learn our lessons, and then we use that for, to help other people, like you said.